Hi, everyone. So I just texted Kirsten. I'm thinking because she's in Hawaii. Normally it's a 2-hour, it was a 2-hour time difference. Now it changed to 3 hours. So she's probably confused is my guess. So I texted her, we'll see if she responds, but we could start. Who's got some challenges or really exciting fun things that you did this week on your stuff? Hi, Heather. Hi, Kari. Hi, everyone. Did anybody learn anything from the videos that you watched? There was some really good stuff in there from Elise Chedevy. What were some things that you really liked? Okay, I'm gonna call on people. Kari, you gotta unmute yourself, hon.
I see that. Yeah, I honestly, for challenges this week, I struggled with some one-on-ones just because I had a lot of doubters with oils, and that's always a really difficult objection to overcome when people are hesitant to even try the product. So they weren't quite as productive as normal, which is always a little disappointing because normally there's like a little bit of an aha moment when you sample the peppermint or the breathe or some of those like big impactful oils that we have that usually have like a quick response. But all three of the one-on-ones I had, just they weren't responding to the oils that I had sent with them or that I had sampled them during that process. And I ended up sending them home with a little bit of Balance and Serenity mix. And both of them texted me 3 days later and said that they haven't slept at all. So that's my win for the week. Like it was overcome, but it took a little bit of time for them to actually adjust to an oil that was not what I was expecting. Yeah.
So, and just a quick question. There's no criticism here, just as a learning experience. Had you sampled them prior to the one-on-one?
I had not. No.
Okay. So we know from history that if you sample ahead of time, and you can't always do it, right? That's the truth. If you can sample ahead of time prior to a class or a one-on-one, they're 70% more likely to show up and actually purchase. So that's a huge, huge number. So if we can sample, that makes a really big difference.
Sure.
So thank you for sharing, because we all have challenges, right? When we're trying to close. Have you all kind of written out your scripts, or let's raise your hands. Who all here has actually taught a class? Has everybody taught a class? Okay. So hi, Heather. What are do you have some of these scripts down that are you saying to people at the end, that transition? Because if you're happy and it's easy for you to talk about the oils, that transition piece of, okay, when you get into the money part, that's where people usually have a really hard time. I know mine's very similar to Elise Chedevy's. I always say, retail, you don't want to buy retail. That's like going to Macy's and not telling your girlfriend about a sale. That's just mean, right? So that's what I use. And then people they're like, oh yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. But what else do some of you use to close?
I'll jump in here. I actually utilize Lisa Zimmer's strategy of just giving options of big bottles or small bottles. And obviously the big bottles versus the small bottles, there's a little bit of a difference in budget. There's either a $150 kit to start with, or there's a $250 kit to start with. Which one would you prefer?
Perfect. Okay, so that's great. Anybody else? Heather, you're a pro. What's your transition line?
So I never offer retail. I always tell everybody that their option is wholesale customer or wellness advocate. Those are their choices. And then I always offer them 3 kits and I do Natural Solutions, Home Essentials, and Family Essentials. Or
Okay.
actually, sometimes Family Essentials, sometimes Aroma Touch Diffuse. Same price point, depends
Right.
on my people.
Yeah.
So it depends on the vibe before I decide which one I'm gonna compare to. I find myself, I think, more often now doing Aroma Touch Diffused, just because I like for the ones that are looking for the biggest value in like the shortest amount of dollars, that's the one.
Yeah.
And so that's more of my transition as far as how they can be, how they get the oils when I'm coming to the close. And I've not had anybody question me. I rarely get the one oil person. Once in a blue moon, I get the one oil person from it. That's so rare anymore. So I just find for me that works.
Okay. No, that's great. I actually, same thing. Has everybody seen Kyle's trifold? Are you using Kyle's trifold? Okay, it's have you seen it?
I've seen Kyle's, but I had ordered Lisa's prior.
I did too. Yeah, except I have to tell you, I love Kyle's because it's a little prettier. And this one's kind of messy because you'll see if you look up close. I have my notes on it. This is what I actually teach off from. I love this. And the reason I like Kyle's a little bit better is he actually has 4 on there as well. He has the Family Essentials, the Aroma Touch Diffused, which, like you say, is a really good deal because they get the diffuser and they get the fractionated coconut oil, which is awesome. The Home Essentials and then the Natural Solutions, right? So I really do like this one. The only thing I see that it's missing from Lisa's is this one doesn't talk about co-impact sourcing. And for some people in the room, like our doTERRA's mission is really important. So I always so I have a little note to myself, don't forget to talk about the co-impact sourcing. But then it has where to get started, all that fun stuff. So it still has the top 10 oils. I really like it. And I've been,
So Jennifer, sorry, can I just interrupt you for a second? That trifold, is that what you teach from?
That's what I'm teaching from.
You're just handing everybody the trifold and you're teaching from that. Okay.
Exactly. Yep.
And is that
super?
Is it in EE in the files? Is it on the website then? Or is it on the Facebook page?
Nope, it's on the website. It's under, I can't remember what it's under. I'll have her mention it or we'll highlight it again. But I love it. I can carry it easy in my purse. And if they look, for me, this is just my opinion. Everybody gets to teach their class however they feel like teaching, right? Totally your choice. I don't like people going through the whole flyer and looking at all those price points, because for me, they see that $27.50 and they're like, holy Toledo, I don't have $2,750, right? But for some, it just really depends on where you're at, right? But for me, this makes it super simple. I can carry it in my purse. I can hand these out because even if it's really quick, it tells them where to get to your website and purchase right there. So that's what I like, but you get to choose, right? So did anybody else have any like super big aha moments when they were going through some of that stuff from Elise Chedevy that were great closing moments? Anybody? Come on. Okay, who had a really challenging moment as they were working on it? And they're like, oh my gosh, what can I do to overcome this? Because this group is here, we're here to help everybody.
I'll share.
I had a challenging moment.
Oh,
hey, how are you? Sorry, I didn't see you join us.
It's called The Time Doesn't Change in Hawaii, and I messed up on every single call all day. That's my challenging moment. But Heather, I want to hear yours. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. This is awesome.
No, that was like perfect timing. I was like, I thought I saw your face and then all of a sudden you disappeared and I was like, oh, maybe she's having trouble. And Hawaii time is definitely different since they don't change. I remember that from visiting.
Yeah. This is, it's 3 p.m. So I am picking up kids from school right now. So yeah, it's exciting, but it's all good. So Thank you, Jen, for always being the wonderful leader and
Bella?
backup person that helps me. I totally appreciate you. Today, I wanted to go over, like I said last week was a lot of content, right? Like there was, hold on. Okay, I got to figure out how to manage all my people. Sorry, everybody. Sorry. Okay, can you go swing and then I'll come in a minute? Yeah, I'm literally like in the middle of picking up kids from school. So I'm going to have to figure out something else for the next few weeks. Oh, wow. Okay, I'll help you. Go out there and I'll meet you out there. Okay, so sorry. I really want today's call to be about you guys, like I had said before. I'm trying to change. Oh, my. Wait. No, it should be fine. Okay. There we go. Okay, I'm good. I'm good. Took me a second. Last week was all about learning a lot of content. And I told you guys that this week I wanted to do a lot less of me talking and a lot more of you guys talking. This is week 4 of a 6-week launch program. I know it's a lot of action and learning and applying. And so I would love to just go around the room and I will totally call on as many people as I can, just like I did a couple weeks ago. I want to hear from as many of you as possible. I actually think that some of the real value of these calls and being in a group like this together is seeing what other people are experiencing, people who are in the exact moment that you're in, right? So teaching classes, like trying to prospect, trying to talk to people about the business stuff. So I'm gonna go actually. Hi, Lacey. I like your yellow scarf. I'm looking for someone specific, someone who I didn't get to hear from last week, because I told you guys that there were some of you I didn't get to hear from last time. So Nancy and Jenna in Georgia. I know you girls want to chat with me. So I'm going to call on you guys, you ladies first. Welcome to our call. First of all, super excited to have you both on together.
Hi,
Is
Kristen.
hi.
So if you
what
hear
I'd like to hear,
background, we have 4 kids between the 2 of us. So we're here and we're together.
awesome. Yeah, for sure. And other
Uh,
people have kids, so I don't feel bad about speaking to my kids
Yeah.
during calls.
It's just part of it. So as soon as
Yeah,
you
totally.
said that, I thought I would just go ahead. This week, I came to Georgia, last week, I should say. I came to Georgia for leadership by myself, and I ended up going with both of my kids. And I did not think I had it in me, and I thought I was just going to lose it multiple times, and I got through it, and I'm so glad I went. It ended up paying off so much. Denise was able to meet me down there. Jenna was able to come down there a little bit. It just worked out having my kids there, and I did not ever think that I would be capable of doing that at the ages they're at, because they're not babies anymore. They are 3.5 and 5.5.
Yeah.
It was a big deal for me, and I was this close. I won't even lie. Like I even told Jenna, I was like, I don't think I can do it. Like I just can't go back a second day and do this, and it just worked out, and it paid off, of course. So that was my big win for myself. Let's go to another room. Yeah, we're gonna go to another room so that
Awesome.
you can hear us. So yes. Do you want to? Oh, sure. We had to run and escape. So for,
I love it.
so a part of my so that was a win, of course, but then a challenge which kind of goes along the same lines as that is being home where one of my biggest legs is. You know, having a team here that has 20,000 in volume monthly, that is pretty much a residual, and thinking or having the expectations that your family is going to be there for you and they're going to want to support you because you never come home and you never bring your kids home, and when you do, they're not available. so I've had to release expectations majorly this trip with my family, with myself, with my kids, and I'm pretty proud of myself. But with that, I haven't been as consistent with my daily habits as I would like to be. So probably getting them in about 4 days a week. So that's a challenge for me that I'm working on, but
That's still pretty good.
here. I'm here for 3 weeks, so I still have two weeks left. So I'm making the most out of it. And it helps
awesome.
having other kids that your kids can stay occupied. So yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So I'll pass the phone to Jenna though.
Thanks for sharing, Nancy. Love you.
Been forever.
Hey, Jenna. Welcome.
So, I had a moment a couple of weeks ago, and Nancy and I were talking, and she said, "We really need a builder for you in Vegas." And I had got a message from a girl that I've been talking to today. So she is in Vegas, she's gonna sign up. So we totally manifested that. That is
Wow. You're so powerful, girl. You're me. Seriously.
So I think, and I was prepared last time, but I'm not as prepared today. Just
I'm sorry. I know.
But Nancy, Andrea, and I have all been working really hard. We created a Facebook group, and we wanted it to be different from any other group. So we put a lot of effort into it and having information organized in several different ways because everybody's different. So our vision for the group was to make something that everybody, no matter where they're at in their journey, could find information easily. So for me, I started this business about 5 years ago, took a little break, had a couple kids, and so I'm jumping back in. And so just for me, jumping back in, it was kind of challenging to find information. So not that it's not out there, just sometimes I don't really know where to look for it. So that was one of the reasons that I really wanted to do that, was to create something that made those steps a little easier. And our Facebook group is doing really awesome. It's open to everybody. We've made it open to anybody that wants to join. And so that has been a huge win for us, I would say.
Yeah.
Especially like expanding our networks and just meeting new people and, being very accepting of everyone, no matter where they're at, whose team they're on. You know, we all can learn together. And I will be honest and say that there's been a couple of people that are with other oil companies that they have said to me personally that just having that attitude and being open has made them want to be a part of our community. So
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, that's what we were going for, to be honest with you, is that, you know, I have a huge network that I didn't have 3 years ago. And I guess just figuring out a way to welcome everybody, no matter where they're at, which oils they use, you know, and just making them want to be a part of our community has been huge. So that's a huge win. I honestly can't really, I'm like really trying to be positive. I'm in Facebook jail right now, so that's my challenge. But yeah.
That's so good. I love it.
Well,
you know what here's what I love. Here's what I'm hearing from you. And this is what I think the group can really learn from you. And Nancy as well. You know, and Andrea in this Facebook group. It's what it is you guys are taking extreme ownership, right? Because there's, like you said, there's lots of information. I mean, you know, like a couple of your uplines have Facebook groups and you know what I mean? Like there's lots of different Facebook groups out there, but it's like you didn't have ownership of those and you know, like they're good, but they're not like your own baby. And this, what you're explaining to me, it's your baby. It's like you birthed it, you know? And when you do that, that changes the type of ownership that we have in our business. And I know you have, but some of us are brand new. And so you may not need to be taking, you know, extreme ownership, like creating your own Facebook group yet. and your job is to invite and be a part of the community and all of that. But I do think that you guys are really good examples of what it looks like to take that extra ownership step in your business, like when you're ready to do that. So you guys are like painting this picture of what's up ahead for all of the leaders who want to follow in your footsteps. And I think that's fantastic. So thank you for sharing. That's awesome. All right. I see Jane's iPhone on here. Hi, Jane's iPhone.
Hey, how are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm cooking dinner.
You are? Are you home now?
Oh yeah, I got home last night.
Okay, cool. So why don't you share with the group what you've been doing this past week and what that's looked like for you, what one of your big wins was and one of your not so wins.
Yeah, that's a good question. So, let's see. This week has been pretty full. Just to give you guys some background, so I actually started Diamond Club in February, and Kirsten and I had talked about it being kind of like of a kind of immature team, but just do it because why not? And so I was ending up February, not qualifying for the following month, but I'd already set up my classes as if I was going to do Diamond Club anyway. So it's been really helpful because I've kind of just set up my own Diamond Club in my head of, I already have these things set up. Like, I'm not going to just bail on myself now. And it's worked out. It's been really, really good. So I've had a few one-on-ones last week, a couple classes, went to Texas to see my family, and my mom hosted a class, and it went really well. My mom even, who's been using oils for about 2 years now, she's like, wow, I learned more about how to use all these oils I have just sitting there. So that was a really good experience, just even for my mom to get a better understanding. And
Yay, mom.
yeah, it was really cool. And she sold everyone on the LLV. I was like, sweet, everyone there got started with the vitamins. So I was like, awesome.
Awesome. That's huge.
Yeah, no, it was super cool. And so I guess something that has been difficult is, since I am traveling a lot, I really want to utilize my time. And so like I shared with you, Kirsten, I'm reaching out to people via email to see if I can kind of facilitate or start new relationships to the places I'm going, but I'm not getting a lot of feedback. So I don't know if there's a good way to do that. And I know it's hard when it's just like, cold calling essentially, but if there's a good way that you guys know of reaching out and making relationships in places you don't have anyone.
Right. Yeah, this is a great question. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being so amazing. I'm proud of you for creating Diamond Club and then just continuing and just having that perseverance that creates success. You're such an inspiration to everybody. So thank you for that. So, okay. So Jane's question is, and just to give you guys a little bit of background, and you sent me this, and I plan on getting you an answer. I just haven't gotten to it yet. But Jane's question, I think it could be answered on this group. So Jane she knew she was going to Texas. So Jane lives in California. Okay. So this goes for everybody who's on this call. You live wherever you live, and you also want to expand your business in other, you do have friends that live in other places besides just your hometown, right? So you're going to a new place, and Jane thought, well, I'm going to Texas, so I should probably look up other, wellness professionals who live in Texas that I could collaborate with or connect with on the oils, right? And so Jane, what did that correspondence look like and sound like for you? Because these are all ideas of ways for you guys to connect with other people in other areas, right?
So I actually got this idea because Kyle had just posted a letter from a nurse. And so I literally copied and pasted that, but changed it to say, I'm a chiropractor. I'm teaching other chiropractors about, alternative health and options in their office. And so I just tweaked it to sound like it's coming from me. And I just went on Yelp and found like the top 20 chiropractors in the area I was going to and sent messages to them. Okay,
cool. And so you went on Yelp, which is, we've been learning about some good apps, right? Last time or 2 times ago, Kari taught us about Bumble, and now Jane's telling us that she's using Yelp to look up businesses, the top 20 chiropractors in the area, which is like, that's like the type of stuff that, maybe you wouldn't always think about as ways to prospect, right? But this is cold prospecting. So this is not talking to people who you have any sort of relationship with at all, which can be challenging to get them to respond to you. And so what were your results, Jane? You emailed 20.
Yeah, and I had one person respond saying that they weren't interested, but I kind of kept the conversation going so that which was nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you feel like you made a connection with one person?
Yeah, because we're continuing our conversation and it's maybe not oil based, but just like anything else, it doesn't have to be right now.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. Yeah. So connecting, like cold prospecting, is kind of like that, honestly. It's like a numbers game in my experience. One time I was going down to Mexico in an area that I really love and I really wanted to build, and I emailed 50 spas. Kind of the same type of thing. I emailed 50 spas, and I think 3 of them got back to me, and I went to visit those 3 spas, and 1 of them signed up. So I got, you're 20 to 1. I was 50 to 1. So I feel like maybe you're doing better. I don't know. Maybe it's the chiropractor thing. So that's the type of thing that, if and you have to put yourself in the position of being contacted, right? So if you got an email from someone like that, Jane, who said whatever it is that you said, would you respond, or would you maybe kind of think it was a little spammy and maybe not do anything?
Probably a little spammy because I've gotten quite a few of them. So I had that in the back of my mind. I was like, this is totally spammy.
Interesting. So it seemed a little spammy. So then if you got an email from them again, what would you want them to say to you? Like, if they were really serious and they're really professional and they're like, you know what, I know you think I'm being spammy, but I'm not, actually. I have something really valuable to show you. Would you respond if they emailed you again?
I think if I went back and created something that was like kind of what you just said, like, I know that last message might have sounded super spammy, but I really wanted to reach out and just see how I could support you or connect with you or whatever. So
yeah,
maybe if it was like that, because I've definitely started responding saying no thank you, but then if I got something like that, I'd probably be like, it would catch my attention.
It might. Yeah, it might. Right. And so that's kind of like, again, I think cold prospecting is like, it's like marketing on a billboard. You know what I mean? In a way, it's a little better than marketing on a billboard, but like, how many times do you have to see a billboard and think, oh, that's cool, before you actually go back, like call a phone number or go to a website or look them up on Instagram? Like, it's very cold, right? And it's not personal, and it's not anything about not liking what you don't, what you're offering. It's just simply a matter of like, I don't know. Maybe if you contacted me a different way or in a different time or in a different space where I was wanting to be contacted, or you invited me to be a part of a community or something, maybe I could kind of like tiptoe into your Facebook group, but I don't, you know what I mean? Like that sort of thing. Like, I think those types of things take time. And the best way to do it is to remember how you are marketed to in that way and what catches your attention.
I like that. That totally works.
Cool. And I think that can apply to everybody on this call, right? That's not just like a chiropractor, or that you are a wellness advocate, right? So as you're thinking of connecting with people, it's just a matter of doing a really good job. I'm thinking, I mean, this is like a whole branding lesson, but just my challenge to you is this: if you want to cold prospect in either your hometown area or in your extended areas, think about certain people who email you, certain brands, and try to think of the ones that you like, and then copy what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? Like the way they speak, the colors they use, the graphics they use, like, stuff like that. Like, obviously you don't have to go out and get some big branding, budget, but I can think of a few like business coaches that I've never bought anything from, but I let them email me. Like I do. I'm interested in what they say and how they say it. I've got like a handful of business coaches that I may never buy anything from, but I like the way they're speaking to me. And so I'm like letting them in the door, kind of a thing. But they have to keep emailing me or I'll forget about them. You know what I mean? So that's what cold prospecting looks like. And that is definitely a good way to, I would say, to supplement your business. Not probably the best way to like get it started, but definitely a great way to continue making those new connections. So thank you, Jane. I knew you would have some great experiences and some value to add. So I'm going to move to Lacey Dion. She's actually in Maine. And if any of you were at convention, Jane and Lacey were actually featured on a video at the convention. You guys were the closing video at convention. So Lacey, what's been going really well for you this week in your business? And what's been a big challenge for you?
All right, good questions. What has been going really well for me is flow, I'll say. So I kind of launched a little while ago, but didn't really like just here and there. And I've made a decision to fully just really be focusing on this. And by doing that, I feel like it just kind of opened up flow where things are just kind of falling into place and making sense, and which has been wonderful. And with that, kind of a concept that I've had and that I'm moving forward with is basically doing just like I connect really well with the emotional oils, and I always have. It also kind of goes in alignment with a lot of the work that I've been doing up to this point. So I am basically using that as a door opener to get people to work with me, or to, I guess, use oils. But I basically created a 30-day challenge or a program, I'll call it. And I'm putting a lot into it. I'm actually not charging. I kind of went back and forth. And I think that because I was trying to figure out a price point, it was blocking me. And I just decided not to charge and just run the program and basically do it for 10 people that I know, and then have them invite somebody into it as well. And I feel like that's filling up and working really well. I don't have a challenge because I haven't done it. I think the challenge will be to see kind of what that looks like and how that resulted in, just getting people to kind of really be able to use the oils and love them as much as I do. Yeah. So I think that it was just, I think really my greatest challenge was that I was getting in the way of myself, and Kirsten and I had talked about that. So I think I overcame that challenge from the last time we spoke till right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which has been cool.
I love it. I love watching that happen. So this is great. So everyone who's listening, some simple things that we've done that kind of follow what Lacey's talking about. We will set up an essential oil study. Yeah. And some of you have done studies with us before. We'll schedule them usually like once a month. We have like an entire emotional study. We also have like a physical ailment study, so you can sample. It's basically just like a really beautiful form of sampling, where or you can just have them buy a kit. In your case, they can just buy an emotional kit if they want the education, which I do like as well. So there's a couple ways to do it, but one way that we've done this is a great campaign that you guys could all do. You sample to somebody a few of the and I don't recommend doing both. I recommend concentrating on like one or two specific ailments. So one ailment might be like pain. Mm-hmm. And so you would sample Deep Blue and maybe like Copaiba if you have it, or peppermint or Aroma Touch. Like those would be like, you don't have to do all of them, but those are just some samples, some ideas. And so you would sample to them, and you would tell them and invite them that you are doing an essential oil pain study. And this is like it's not a clinical trial. Like we're not doing like double blind peer reviewed type of thing. Okay. But we are doing a true study. And I want you to fill out a survey before you start using your oils. And then I'm also going to send you a survey after you've used the oils for a week. And I want you to honestly tell me what you experienced, what you liked, right? So this is a study. So you can do that for pain. You can do it for digestion. You can do it for sleep, which is a huge one for people. Mm-hmm. So we would sample Serenity, Vetiver, and the Serenity soft gels. Like those are the 3 for sleep. And then the digestive is, of course, Digestin, Terrazyme if you have it. I'm a big fan of Terrazyme. And peppermint, of course, is really good for digestion as well. So there's a few, those are like the physical ailment studies. And then you have the emotional studies, like what Lacey was just talking about. And you could sample like 1 or 2, or maybe like, 2 or 3 of the emotional oils. Or you can simply just say, the education for the study comes along with the purchase of your emotional essential oils kit. It just kind of depends on your market and the type of people who know you, like you, and trust you, right? But we've had great success doing essential oil studies. We'll just pick 1 week out of every month, and we'll just set up a Facebook group for people. You know what? And the Facebook group's not even necessary. Like if people just want to take the pre-study survey, there's just a couple of questions on a Google Doc. I can have Julianne send it out to all you guys, so you have that as a resource. And then you ask them to fill out the information at the end of the study. The Facebook group is nice because you can post different informational graphics and, like little videos and things like that, which is good. But some people are just like too busy for a Facebook group. You know what I mean? Like maybe they won't, I don't know. You get a few people that actively participate in the Facebook group. And then you get a lot of people that will use the oils, but they don't check in on Facebook that much, which is fine. So anyway, I think all these ideas though, these are such great ways to use and share oils, which is really the lifeblood of our business. Like when you're looking at what am I doing? Like how am I taking action, right? Those are the ways, one of the ways that we take action is by sampling and doing challenges and things like that. Thank you for that.
You're
wonderful.
welcome.
Okay. Let's go to Heather. Hi, Heather. I kind of cut you off earlier, and I know you wanted to share your wins and your not so wins this week.
You're so cute. No, no, I don't even remember what I was going to say, honestly. Leadership has me kind of like still recovering. Oh, I know what it was. So we were talking about like a challenge at a class and what we do when there's sort of like the hesitation when you're closing is what we were starting to talk about. Mm-hmm. So I was in that space for like a second on Monday when I was teaching a class, and I could see their faces kind of like super hesitating. So I reached into my bag and I pulled out my iTovi scanner, and that was my savior. I was like, oh my gosh, I almost forgot. I have this iTovi scanner, and I explained real briefly what it was. And I said, I give this free when you start tonight. You can get scanned before you leave and have, this to go home with. And that sold them instantly. Fill out the paper. Here you go. Yeah, that was my turnaround with it. There were some challenges with it, but that's a whole other story that got, but yeah, so my win was the closing, well, I guess you would say 75%, because 3 out of the 4 that came enrolled. So that was
that's
a
awesome.
bonus, right? And yeah, and I guess my other challenge is my canceling and rescheduling of classes that's been happening this week.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's especially challenging, especially when you're in Diamond Club and you've got Diamond Club. For those, I don't know if everybody knows, Diamond Club is like a doTERRA sponsored program where you get some of your travel reimbursed, and you have to do a certain number of classes and get a certain number of enrollments to stay in it. So anyways, but I know you're like totally creative and amazing, and
I'm figuring it out. I'm figuring it out.
Yeah.
Another.
Totally. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. I can't wait to hear more about leadership. Okay, let's see here. Sorry. Oh, Marjorie, are you still with me? I saw your face a second ago. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, great. Thank you. Well, I think this week I struggled a little bit with the daily habits, just because, I was in Atlanta and just, I guess, focusing in like being with my team and just focusing in the moment. It was really hard to keep track of my daily habits. But I'm back at it. I'm back, keeping track with my Google Drive. A win and a difficulty was talking in that panel. It made me so nervous.
Oh, you guys, Marjorie spoke at leadership, like on stage. Yeah, amazing.
It was very good. I learned a few things about myself, like not trying to compare you. Hey guys, not cuties. Not trying to compare myself when you're there. You know, when
Oh,
you're
yeah.
when you're next to like a presidential
yeah.
diamond and
Yeah.
2 diamonds, and they speak more fluent than you, just like trying to beat yourself, not try to beat yourself down just because I stepped down from the stage and I was like, oh my God, I did so bad. And then I had people outside like, oh, you were the one in the panel, like, oh, so nice. And I was like, oh, thank you. You know, like I didn't think you noticed me, but it was great. It was a great experience.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up, you guys. Like, I have this thing where I love the events, like any event. Like, it doesn't matter if it's doTERRA events or Most Powerful Women or whatever event. Like, it's like, I think of it, there's like these leeches that are like these like energetics, however you believe. I believe they're like spiritual demons, but like I feel like there's these leeches, these like energetic leeches that hang out at these events. It doesn't matter if they're amazing events, like doTERRA's like got such a cool spirit, right? But you're there and there's just this like feeling in the room where everyone is like looking around and you love everyone, but then there's like this sense of like, oh, I'm not doing enough. I'm not as good as her. I'm not, oh man, I'm never going to get like, I'm like, ew. Like I'm like that too, honestly. I have to fight it. I had my friend Danielle and I, if you guys know her, she's a blue diamond on my front line. When she spoke at convention, she's speaking at leadership. She's amazing. And even she was just telling me like, I don't know if I'm good enough, Kirsten. Like, I don't know if my message is good. And I'm just looking at her like, I think you need to tell people that from stage. Like that was my advice to her. I'm like, I think you should stand on stage and actually tell everybody that you did not know if you were good enough, that like you had all these thoughts that were going in your mind about what you aren't. And like how that's what everyone is thinking. And it's so wrong, but it's like so difficult to like overcome that without consciously trying to overcome it. And I think for me, just my piece of advice in that situation is I believe that everything comes from 2 sources. It's either dark or light, right? There's not a gray area. It's not like tricky. Okay. So anything that brings fear or, you know, feelings of less than or frustration, that's all dark. Like all of it is dark. And so I've learned to look at that darkness and say, hey, I mean, I don't like talk to myself, but like I kind of do. So don't think I'm weird, but like, this is what I do. I notice that darkness and I just say, hey, you're not welcome here. I know I'm good enough. And I know that every single person in here is good enough. We're all good enough. And like, it's just like this kind of shunning of that darkness. That's like, hey, I see you. You're not going to trick me. I know you're not real. I know who I am. Right. And it's like a conscious effort to do that. It can't, because otherwise you'll adopt those feelings as your own. You'll be thinking, oh yeah, I do feel that way. Oh, that is me. Okay, yeah, I'm not as good as her. Like that, all of that is complete crap, right? So that's my advice, is it has to be a conscious effort of noticing, first of all, that's not truth. And secondly, asking it to leave. Fair? Yeah, it's taken me about 9 years to learn that one, actually. That's only recent, okay? So
Kirsten, I just want to say something super quick. Also, another one is that, well, Angelica is connected and her frontline leader, Alexandra, I think she was online too. We're going in April to doTERRA to the Spanish leadership event that is 2 days.
Awesome.
And then we're doing a certification with Dr. Hill about blend making. So we're so excited.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. Good job.
Yeah.
That's like the Latino kind of founders group that they're creating. Yeah. Is that how you got like invited to that and all of that?
Yeah, so they do like, it's like a 2 day, it's called Camino al Éxito. So it's like a small leadership retreat. And then from the people that are going to that, they're doing the certification. So they only had like 80 tickets and they're like, whoever buys them, gets them first, gets to do the certification with Dr. Hill about blend making. Yeah.
Fantastic. That's really cool. Yay. That is a big win. Good job. I love it. All right. Let's go to Kari Hansen. Hey girl, my Bumble girl. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm hiding in my car and all of my children are like screaming around the van and banging on the windows. It's really good.
It's okay. It happens.
Yeah.
Well, I talked a little bit with Jen earlier, like right away when we
Oh, I
started the
missed it.
call. Yeah, but my win, what like my biggest challenge were some of the one-on-ones I had this week. So normally when I have the one-on-ones, I basically treat them like a class, and I walk through the trifold, or I walk through the class on a box sheet, and I sample the oils that normally have like a really big impact. Peppermint, On Guard, Breathe, and they were not even flinching at those oils. And it like really threw me through a loop, because normally people like take a deep breath with a peppermint or they're thrown off. And it just like threw me through a loop. And so I ended up sending them home, because all three of them actually mentioned that they had trouble sleeping. So I have like these baby 5 milliliter bottles, and I always do 10 drops of Serenity and 10 drops of Balance. And that's like the sample that I normally send for people who are struggling with sleep.
Yeah.
And 3 days after, all three of them have texted me now and said, hey, whatever you gave me was incredible. I've never slept better. And so, yeah, so I finally had my turnaround moment. So that was my win. They haven't enrolled yet, but I anticipate they will. And then Bumble is still just helping out with the network. It's been a lot of fun. I laugh at myself all the time. But it's been so much fun to meet so many really fun, outgoing women in St. Louis. Like,
yeah,
I went to a flower exhibit with one of them at the art museum, and like I went to brunch a couple times and coffee, and it's been really fun to just meet new faces and start to talk about natural solutions with them.
I love it. That's so great. Oh my goodness. That's the best. And I think it's really interesting. Like, okay, so we're all hearing your story of, you know, I don't want to say like, okay, triumph kind of, you know what I mean? Like they haven't enrolled yet, but they did text you back and say they loved it. But like after the one-on-ones, you know, like how many days went by after you had your one-on-one? Okay. So 3 days.
Yep. It was 3.
So there was 3 days that went by after you like did this one-on-one thing with them. And like, how were you feeling? Like how, you know, were you feeling good or were you feeling like crap?
I mean, I think a year ago I would have been feeling like crap, but since transitioning into an actual sales position, I hear no every day. Yeah. Because I'm like in a career now where I have to pick up the phone and cold call every day, which has been really great for this business because it's opened my perspective a little bit to like talking to strangers. I have no problem going up to the mom now in Target that has a crying toddler. It doesn't bother me at all. So, I mean, a year ago, I would have been feeling mortified. I probably would have, you know, questioned my ability to talk to people. Am I educating right? What's going on? Why didn't these products work for them? They worked in every other one-on-one or class I've ever had. Do I need to switch up my style? And I would have been questioning everything I know that has been true to work for me thus far. Mm-hmm. But this time I was like, I'm going to get them. I just don't know how yet. So, I was really thankful that I had those 5 milliliter rollers ready for them because I keep those in my purse. Usually for moms that I see with upset kiddos or people who seem super stressed out, and knowing that they didn't leave with an enrollment or an oil or something is odd for me when I have my one-on-ones. That's not like, not to toot my own horn or anything, but that's not common. People usually at least go home with the intention of getting their kit within the next couple days. And so that threw me through a loop. And I seriously questioned myself for a minute, but everyone has their own journey.
And I think questioning is good. Like I question myself too, right? I mean, it's good to like self-reflect and all of that. But what I wanted to know, like, cause I think for some of us, like those 3 days, like some of us could have been like, oh my gosh, I am not cut out for doTERRA. Like, I can't do this. I suck at this. Like, I can't do this anymore. I can't, you know, like, I don't know, like it could send you into like this whole thing. And then later you like, you know, they call you and they tell you they love it and you're like right back up. So sometimes this business can, if you allow it, feel like a roller coaster. You're like, wee, like here I go. Oh no, that sucks so bad. Oh, here I am again. Like, you know, and so I just want to kind of caution you to don't get on the roller coaster ride of this. Like it's not meant to drive you insane. It's not meant to, you know, make you question your worthiness or any of that garbage. You know what I mean? Those are all just distractions. And I know, Kari, that you didn't do that this time, but I think a lot of times that can happen. Oh, look, all my Hawaiians are jumping on at 4 o'clock now. See, sorry, Hawaiians. The rest of the world changed their time and we have to get used to it. So anyways, okay, I want to jump to Denise Nadler. Hi. I know Nancy gave you a shout out earlier and I'm excited to see you on here. Are you with me, Denise? I can see that you're muted, but you'll have to unmute yourself unless you want me to try to unmute you. Okay. Well, we will see if she can get herself unmuted. Let me see if I can unmute you. Hold on. Participants, Denise, unmute. Okay, Denise, I think I unmuted you. Are you there? Okay, that's all right. I'm going to mute you again. Okay, I'm going to go to Andrea Pintozzi. Hey, Andrea, are you there?
Yes. Hello. Sorry.
Yes,
we are outside playing.
That's how as you should be.
Yeah, there's my munchkin on the table.
Awesome.
No pants on because we're potty training. Sorry.
Cool, that's great. I didn't even notice. That looks like normal to me.
Okay, come on. So I'm gonna start with the challenge. So my challenge this week or this past week was our babysitter fell through. So I no longer have a consistent babysitter. So that was a challenge. And I had to resort back to not making her an excuse, but making her more about my why. So getting out and going on play dates or going to indoor play places, going to the park and forcing myself to meet moms that way instead of overthinking it and thinking she needs to be at daycare and I need to go talk to a business and I need to be super professional. I just like put too much pressure on myself to think that that's the way it's supposed to be. But this past week, I just went back to the basics, like keep it simple. Sometimes we try to make things harder than it is. And I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So I had to reset my intentions for myself. So it was a challenge, but a win out of the challenge. So I definitely think God allowed this to happen for a reason.
Yeah. Sometimes I think of it like this, like I'll be like, oh, I'm too busy to do, you know, all those things, right? And then when I'm doing them and I'm out, I'm like, wait, this is actually doing doTERRA. Like what I'm doing now is more of doing doTERRA than what I was doing in my office. Like, and there is preparation, you know, in your office and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's kind of a good lesson to realize what is productive.
Yeah, and then on the plus side, I'm saving money on a babysitter, right? So I can invest that back into my business. So
I know.
But it was really cool. The few moments that I did have this babysitter, I was able to do a lot of cold calling, which in return didn't work out the way that I wanted it to. But because I literally cold called 100 businesses, like no lie, I completely feel so comfortable. Like Kari was saying, I can go walk up to anybody now and talk to them about doTERRA. Like there is no shame in my game now because I talked to 100 people on the phone. Like I was sweating bullets the first few times, but now I'm just like, whatever. They're going to say no or they're going to say yes. And we just know no means no now. So that was really cool. And then another win that I want to share with everybody because I just got whacked with a broom. That's why you have kids, so they do chores.
Totally.
A win that I think you ladies might like this if you haven't already tried it. So if this is something that's not like a new thing for you. I apologize that I'm late to the game, but I called my local library and inquired about partnering up with them to offer my workshops. And it ended up being, instead of doing a partnership, which we're still going to explore, you can just rent rooms. You can rent spaces at your local libraries and just go educate about the oils. And so when I called them, I said, hey, you know, I'm an essential oil expert. I'm a holistic health and wellness coach, and essential oils are a huge hot topic right now. And I want to make sure, especially families, know how to safely use these oils in their home, because that is something that's super important to me. You know, I don't want a mom buying an oil from Amazon and putting it topically on their baby and doing harm to their baby, and then never wanting to use essential oils ever again because they did it the wrong way. And the library was like, oh, wow, yeah, this program would be awesome. So if you are dried up your warm market and you're looking for cold market action, I think that would be, I'm excited to try this. So I don't know how it's going to work, but I think it'll be really good because, right, there's lots of families that go to the libraries.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And you know what else? I love what you said. Like, okay, so here's the thing. Doing all those cold calls, you know, may or may not have yielded the type of results that you want yet. Doing the library thing is awesome. It's creating legitimacy for who you are and what you stand for, and giving you good practice and putting yourself out there. And you don't really know exactly what's going to come from that, right? But what that does also, like when you said, you know, using up your warm market, which is like not even totally possible. But I think the thing is like when you're going out and establishing yourself as a community leader, as a thought leader, as a change maker, as someone who's like, yeah, I'm partner with a library now. Like, look at me, look at her go, you know, then your warm market sees you do that, right? And all of a sudden they're like, oh, wow, I saw you doing that. Like I actually am doing an event with you, Andrea, and others in Vegas. We're doing a women's networking event that is not doTERRA specific. Like we're not advertising it like come check out doTERRA oils, but we're advertising it as like a women's empowerment group. And I just posted it on Facebook, and I've had so many people like from my hometown, which is 2 hours away from Vegas, messaging me like, oh, look at this event that you're doing. Like, and these are like, one of them was my aunt, who I've tried to talk to about doTERRA for like, you know, 9 years since the beginning. And all of a sudden she's never been interested in like anything I've been doing with doTERRA, but now I'm doing this women's empowerment thing. And she's like, oh, look at you. Well, I think I'm going to come down for that. I'm like, you're going to drive 2 hours down to Vegas to come to my women's empowerment thing, but you wouldn't come to one of my classes? Like, interesting. So having classes is good. I think also when your warm market sees you doing things in your community, like at the library or wherever it may be, it's just interesting, like the perception that people have and the amount of time that it takes. Not 9 years, okay? I promise you'll be successful before 9 years. But it's really, really cool. Thank you for those ideas, Andrea. Really super valuable.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. It's my fault for being late. I'm sorry that I can't get to every single one of you, but I do want to make sure to call, last but not least, the woman with the most points in the Daily Habits Challenge so far as of, I don't think it included week 3 reporting, but after the 2 weeks of reporting, I am happy to announce, drum roll please, Brianna Mead is our #1 spot so far for the Daily Habits Challenge. So congratulations on that so far, and definitely excited to hear from you about what has been working for you and maybe what some of your challenges have been.
Sure. Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah, totally cool.
Really good month. I've kind of been all in, and so 2 weeks ago we all spoke and I didn't, but my biggest win was I ranked to Premier.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So, and that happened like not at the end of BOGO. So I know BOGO is a huge influence, but it was just insane because I've set up my 3rd leg already, like for silver. So I had 8,000 in volume at the end of the month. So that was my biggest win.
That's amazing.
It was so cool. And I guess so I had my favorite part of those enroll someone from Young
Ay, no
Living
me cago. Yo no hago.
that has an account, and also enroll someone with a natural solutions kit. And I put on the class for one of my builders, but I let them enroll them, so they reaped the benefit of getting that enrollment. But both those things happened that night. So the first natural solutions kit and the Young Living, and I'm like, I can't even take credit for. Well, I mean, I taught the class, but
yeah, totally.
I wanted to give that enrollment to my builders so they could see, you know, it was their contact and everything. So it's kind of a taste of that. So
that's
that was
fantastic.
so cool. Yeah.
That's
so
huge.
and I feel like the biggest part I changed this month was sampling and with no expectation. And so knowing my market, for example, I'm a coach at a gym, and my other coaches like aren't into oils, but they know I do it, and they ask me, or I've sampled some, but we were doing an event together. We were going to Soul Cycle, and so I brought them a little 5 ml of Cheer and Motivate. One, you know, I kind of intertwined the two. So, and I just said, hey, this is what I use before coaching, like just a gift to you. And from that, I've had them reach out to me like, I'm sick, what do I do? And, you know, just no expectations. I have gotten a lot more feedback and kind of like the hands off, like I'm here for you and you know how to reach me. And I know they're not going to go to someone else because I've treated them that way. So that was really cool. But the hardest part is the work-life balance, because I work full-time and part-time. And so I work full-time corporate job, and then I work at the gym sometimes before I go to work. And so, but because I have I have so many people I can touch, I just feel like I have to keep going. And so trying to find like the fine line of not interrupting family time, and then finding like, how can I be more efficient? So, I mean, one thing I've really found, like I've not given myself an excuse. So my lunch breaks, I use to do a live, just quick drop in, or I'll do a post that I've pre-written. So I'll like try to batch out some posts, so I'm not like writing them at work, but I'm walking to the bathroom and like posting it real quick. And so that way I'm showing up even though I'm not showing up. So in person, I guess, but
staying consistent.
Yeah. Cause that's where a lot of the people I reach are on social media. So I'm like, okay, that's a good place to, you know, show up at in person too. But
for sure. So can I ask you a few questions? Cause I just think like for the group, first of all, there's a lot of people who want to be where you're at right now. Like you just hit Premiere, which is huge. And we're all so excited for you. But you also just said you have a full-time job and a part-time job, and you're doing doTERRA. You just hit Premiere. You are a hustler. You are a badass woman. You are amazing. You know, you are. Like I recognize you. I see you. Okay. Yeah. And I want more of you. And I want our leaders to find more of you. And like, what's interesting to me is what you just said. I have a full-time job and a part-time job, and I just hit Premiere. Like, I think there's a lot of people, you know, maybe even on this call, who have friends or, you know, associates who work full-time and part-time, and I saw you had a little guy in the background, so you have kids too. So you're extremely busy. Like your life is it's like full. You know what I mean? It's completely full, and it's by design. I know you've chosen that. So it's all happening for you.
It's a plan.
It's all part of your plan. But like, what drew you to do doTERRA? Like, why are you doing it? And who brought you in? And like, what did they say? And how are you know what I mean? Like, paint the picture for people so they can, you know,
Well, so I've actually worked at Boeing for 11 years. And it's become a different company, and I also commute an hour, so that isn't feasible in what I want to do. And I think when I went on long maternity leave, I came back and I was using doTERRA for 2 years, and I was kind of like a closet oiler. I would just like have my oils like in a little cabinet. I wouldn't tell anyone, and I'd just be like, you know, dousing myself and learning all these things. And I was like, so I had situations where like my grandparents came over, and I was like, okay, like I'm gonna oil, like my grandpa had neuropathy, and so his feet were really hurt. So I was like, I'm gonna like pamper you. I don't expect anything. I want to know what you think, and I want to help
Yeah.
you, really. And so I did that, and it was like that moment where he was like, okay, like that worked. What did you use, and how do I get more? And my doctor wants to know. And I was like, okay, like this feeling is so much more fulfilling than my corporate job. And, you know, I have great benefits. I'm treated well, but I don't want to play small anymore. I don't want to commute an hour. I don't want to miss kid events. And I've always cared about health. And I mean, I started part-time at the gym while I was on maternity leave. I've always been a fitness instructor. And just when I was like, look at all the people I can impact and how much more fulfilling that would be. And then when I started kind of indulging myself, I was like, I'm good at this. I can do this. Like, and so I don't think it was anything someone said. I think I had to tell myself, like, you can do this. And I mean, I'm not giving myself an option, I guess. I reverse engineered my goal, and I'm like, okay, this is what you got to do. And it's a sacrifice, but what's worth it? And, you know, you can make excuses, or you can find some little pockets of time and do something. And so, yeah.
Wow. That's incredibly inspiring, truly. Thank you so much. And I must say that, you know, I get to be around a lot of presidential diamonds. And I would say that, like, the number one, I interview them all, you know, I want to know, like, what makes you tick? Like, what is it? And I would say 90% of them, I'm not one of them, because I did have an upline that was like totally like, come on, you know, but I would say 90% of them were like, it wasn't anything anybody said. It was me. It was what I decided to do. And I just set the goal, and then I just like work. So just like what you just said, I was like, wow. I mean, and having an upline just makes it better, right? Like, I mean, it certainly helps to have the support, but everything that you're saying, like, those are the characteristics of really building something that's worthwhile and lasting. And obviously you're doing it, and I'm excited to cheer you on. You're amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
For sure.
That's exciting.
All right, you guys, thanks again for being on. I appreciate your time, and I won't be late again. I promise. That was my only time. We do have, I believe, 2 weeks left. I think today was week 4. Yep. So I'm looking at my calendar. So we have next Monday, the 18th, would be week 5. And then the Monday after that will be week 6. So that will be our final week of this round of the launch program. And then by April 1st, like I said, my birthday, we will be announcing winners for the Most Powerful Women events and all of that fun stuff in Las Vegas. So excited, so incredibly excited to be there with, you know, all of you that can make it. And if you can't, I still love you. But yeah, this is so wonderful. And also, like I said before, this has been an incredible experience for me to just like be able to speak to so many of you and like hopefully help you in some way. So be thinking of who you can invite to the next round of the launch program if you choose to. Now, I know that some of you belong to incredible uplines that are already doing launch programs, and I encourage you to work with them as well. Like this is not meant to be like a replacement, you know, for what your amazing uplines are doing. But it is fun for those of you who feel called to connect here with us. I'm not announcing the exact date of that yet, just because Alexander, I saw your question, because I have kind of a lot of plans and things that I'm working on, but I promise I will put it in my like lineup of things to plan and I'll get back to you. Maybe I'll make that announcement next week or something of when that will be. But before this program is over, I will for sure be announcing like the dates of the next one and all of that. But in between then, my advice for you is if you have new builders or new sharers or like anyone that's even just kind of considering looking about, you know, I'm all thinking about maybe looking at doing the business, maybe, okay, like that. I suggest this, get them started listening to the 30 days of mentor calls first. That's like the kind of like the holding tank. It's like the place where they can sit in the back row and kind of observe, like, you know, get their feet wet. Maybe they could host a class where you come and teach it. To me, like the pre-launch type of stuff is 30 days of mentor calls and hosting an event. You know what I mean? That like you come and do all the teaching for. So I feel like anybody before they join a launch call with me should at least have a couple of those things under their belt, so that when they get on with me, and I'm very business and straightforward, as you guys have seen, I don't scare them and they're excited. So anyways, still no guarantees that I'm not going to scare people, but you know, doing my best. So that's my advice. Just giving you a little heads up for what's going to be coming in the next few weeks. So thanks again for being on. And I'm sorry for those of you that I didn't get to chat with today. You mean the world to me. Definitely want to catch you guys again personally very soon. So thanks for being on, especially all you East Coasters. Go to bed now. Okay, bye.